How's it going, everybody? So welcome to the podcast tonight. I'm really, really excited about the man that we're going to bring to the podcast because, as you know, I love land-based fishing, and this man really is a legend. In my opinion, he's a legend in the land-based fishing scene, and you're going to hear a little bit as to why that is shortly. But ladies and gentlemen, it is none other than the man himself, Pete Lamb. So how's it going, Pete?
Good, thanks. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, awesome, bro. Awesome. Now, first and foremost, bro, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I sort of grew up fishing in Wellington. My mum and dad were always keen fishers, so we went on fishing holidays when we could, and picked the good days we go out on the boat. But as time went on, I just got more passionate about fishing, and just kept learning and getting into different sort of challenges and stuff, and pretty much mostly land-based all the way through my earlier years. I was a keen land-based fisherman, surf casting and rock fishing, and it's just grown right the way through to getting a business going in my 20s, and then and now I'm sort of coming at the other end. I'm thinking about retiring and going back to what I used to do, go fishing all the time rather than trying to run a business.
Love it, love it. Hey, mate, I look forward to getting out there with you one day. But we're in week, I think it's so hard to keep track of time. I think it's week 6 of lockdown. How's lockdown been treating you, mate?
Pretty good, because it's nice to spend a month at home and get everything sorted out and get to know your family again, and spend a bit of time just relaxing and recharging the batteries. Because when you're running a business, especially fishing charters, knocks your stuffing out, big days out in the water. Yeah. And you don't often have enough time for doing the stuff you want, especially in the summertime. We get really busy and don't have much time off, So
wow.
It was good. It was a good month off. And then and I was writing about fishing and doing online stuff on my website, so I kept things going.
Cool.
But it's good this week to be able to go out and wet a line again.
Love it.
Sure.
Choice. Hey, so you quickly you mentioned your website. Can you give us a bit of a plug on the website? How can people check that out, mate?
Yeah, if you just do a search on PeteLambFishing, you should get my website straight away. But it's just PeteLambFishing.co.nz, and I've had it going for quite a while. So I've got a few old and new articles on it, and a sort of website shop which we're building up, and just about all the charters and a lot of how-to fishing reports. Quite a bit of that, because I'm out there quite a bit. I know what's going on, so I like to try and educate people to tell them what's biting and what their best options are on a weekly basis. So it's updated sort of all the time.
Wow.
It's good. It's sort of like a book online, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll put the link to that in the description of this video so you can check that out. That's cool. Hey, now we're going to get into a few questions today, and I'm particularly excited about getting to a very special story that we talked about behind the recording earlier on. But before we get there, I've got a few questions, and the first one is, what got you particularly into fishing? What was it, or who was it that got you into fishing in the beginning?
Well, pretty much my mum and dad. Every year since I was in nappies, we'd go on a fishing, camping sort of boating holiday around New Zealand somewhere. At Christmas time, we'd go away for a month. So all the way through my life, every month, just after Christmas, before Christmas, we'd leave and go and visit a place and just camp, with the boat and with the tent. And we did that all over the place. And I really enjoyed that. And I mean, there's just something about it. I've just had fishing in my blood. I always used to think about it, and was always looking forward to the next adventure. When I got into my teens, I could actually go out fishing a lot more, school holidays and all that kind of stuff. So my parents used to run me around and drop me off at the wharves and beaches and stuff for the day, and where we started camping overnighters. But my parents really encouraged me to get into the fishing, and I think it's just grown on me, all the way through. So
how cool is that? How cool is that? Shout out to mum and dad. You're legends.
Yeah.
So, man, so you've spent a lifetime fishing. That is awesome. What would you say your greatest achievement in the fishing world, in the outdoors even? What has been your greatest achievement to date?
Oh, that's a pretty tough question, because I've always set myself goals, and it was trying to catch a kingfish for the first time back in the early days, and I thought I'd never achieve that, and then it just came up, the number came up, and I thought, man, imagine being on the front cover of Fishing News. That would be, incredible. And then that sort of happened. But it's hard to know the greatest achievement. I mean, I think it's being able to run a fishing business in Wellington, because the weather's so tough down here to be able to get out all that much. It's really, really hard just to make a living out of it down here. But that's always a constant battle to try and, and to try and keep staff employed and things like that. But
gotcha. And you've got a YouTube channel. Can you let us know about the YouTube channel? Because I watched a few videos, and a lot of them are the charters that you take people out on, but you catch some pretty incredible fish.
Yeah, well, I ran a charter boat from Wellington for about 10 years called the Daniel. It was a big 65-footer, big old trawler, nice big sort of safe, spacious vessel, and we'd go out in the harbour and on the south coast. It's about an hour out from the harbour entrance to the deep water drop-offs, where you can get grouper bass and blue nose and all kinds of stuff there. So I used to do that quite a bit, and a guy just approached me. One of my customers said, "Oh, look, I do a bit of filming for YouTube," and I'm sort of he's a partner there. He's done all kinds of stuff, and what's that? Come out on your boat and film a few episodes. So we did that for a while, and after about sort of 6 months of that, we did a fair few bits and pieces, but he went off on another tangent and is doing something else now. So, but that was quite a few years ago. We did it for a wee while, and then it just sort of dried up. So I haven't really done anything over the last sort of wee while. But it's something I'd like to get back into, do a bit more filming.
Cool.
When you're out there enjoying it, it's that's the ultimate, isn't it? Out on the water.
Yes, definitely. And I think one of the things I really loved, and I was talking to you about it earlier, I love the fact that you've got a music element to it. So tell us a little bit about the music, mate.
Well, I've grown up with music. So I've always been musical from an early age. I've always been like to tap things, I've always been had a bit of rhythm, and I've been a drummer. I've been a drummer all my life, I love the drums. I'm sitting behind my kit at the moment. But I sort of, I was pretty active in school with sort of classical and jazz, and I had a bit of classical training in that in the early days. Then I got into heavy rock in my teenage years, and I started playing in heavy rock bands around Wellington, and and then I sort of discovered George Thorogood and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I thought, wow, this is incredible. What the heck's this, And so I did a bit of background work, and I found out they were playing old bluesy stuff from Mississippi and all that kind of stuff. The old bluesmen, Chicago, and something got into me, and I've loved the blues ever since. So I picked up the slide guitar like George Thorogood does, tuned it to a chord, and played slide on it, and harmonica, and that was about 30 odd years ago. So I've been just mucking around with it for a wee while.
Wow.
So I like to play harmonica and guitar, and I just love it. I go to music festivals around the country and around the world a bit, and always up for a jam if someone wants to have a bit of a jam, because it's pretty cool. But if I can mix the fishing with the music, that's the 10 out of 10, eh?
Love it. Yeah. And I tell you what, you want to check out his YouTube channel, and I'm going to put the links in the description, but check out his YouTube channel, because they're out there doing what we love. They're out there fishing. They're catching some awesome fish. And then there's some jamming in the background that you won't hear anywhere else. It's beautiful. And I tell you what, that sort of music in the background fishing, mate, you're dead right. 10 out of 10 from me too, mate. That is awesome. For you personally, has there ever been a moment when you've been outdoors that you've felt, oh my gosh, this is it? A
few of those, actually, when you spend a lot of time out in the water, there are times where you think, oh, I could be in trouble here, I think things aren't going, when you're out in the wild blue yonder. I was off the rocks at Cape Brett once, and I caught a bit of a wave. It just went up past my knees and sort of swept me out, and would just drag me down the rocks. And I managed to hang on and clamber up the rocks, but I got some sort of pretty bad gashes. So I thought that could have been it. I was pretty lucky that I just managed to get back, but that's sort of happened a couple of times over 40 years of fishing. But as time goes on, you get a bit more wiser, and you tend to respect the sea as time goes on. And likewise in the boat, sometimes in Cook Strait, the weather changes on you, and the wind the tide changes and it gets rough, and it can be bloody nice. We're fishing away, and then it can get rough. And I've had a few episodes in the Cook Strait where I think, man, we've just got to keep that boat going straight. If you go side onto this, it's not going to be good. So you just got to keep plowing through it, get to the other end, get out of the wind against tide, all the rough stuff. And I don't like being in that sort of. I prefer not to be in that kind of situation if I can help it. And you try not to, but conditions change sometimes where you find yourself, you're in it, and you just got to ride it out.
Yeah.
And as long as everything keeps going, and you've got a backup plan if something goes wrong, then that's pretty much what it comes down to. But I can remember going up to Three Kings a long, long time ago with Bill Hall trying to get a marlin, and we got a sort of 40-plus knot nor'easter sort of come up, and we were the last boat to leave coming back to New Zealand. And we had it on its side, on a 50-foot salt house with good boat and a good skipper, Bill Hall. But you could hardly leave your chair in the cabin for about 8 hours, And then that time, you really sort of make sure that your skipper's a good skipper and the boat's a good boat, and everything holds together. But when you're out on the sea, there's always that element of I hope that boat keeps going. Sometimes when you get into a bit of rough water, because if it doesn't, something goes wrong, then you could be in the shit. So I do. It is. I love it off the shore. It's a lot more relaxing, and nothing like sitting in the deck chair on the beach with the old gas barbecue and chili bin next to you. It's that's pretty good. But the adventure of going out, on the water and going rock fishing, for instance, you've got to be careful, real careful off the rocks.
Big time.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of older you get, the wiser you get, and maybe the less risks you try and take.
Nice. Now while you're on that, actually, I get a lot of guys that tune in that are learning the ropes, that are just getting into fishing, land-based fishing in particular. But what would be your beginner's advice? What would be that one thing that you would say to a beginner straight out the gate?
Well, safety first, So that's probably the most important thing. I always think about safety first to make sure you're going to come back. If you really want to get the good safety gear, if you're off the shore, the old inflatable life jackets are pretty good. You just have in mind that they're not too cumbersome. Just in case you land up in the drink, you can inflate them, but it could save your life. But just to have a backup form of communication. VHF as well as a cell phone, just general bits and pieces, but keep your eye on the water and keep your ear to the forecast when you're out there to make sure if conditions change, you can get out before it gets too rough. But safety, it's all about coming back in one piece. It looks a bit dodgy, maybe don't do it. If the beach is a bit too swelly or the rocks, waves are coming up, just don't do it. Pick a calm spot today.
That's the one. Yep. Live to fish another day, mate. Love it. So
then it's about getting your fishing gear. You're getting all your good fishing together and having good gear and good bait, good lures and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. Now on that, mate, you've taken the words. You've beautifully pathwayed us on to the next question, which is, what are the 3 must-haves in your tackle box? So we've got the basics. We've got a rod and a reel. All your kind of main gear. What would be your 3 must-haves in the tackle box?
So it depends whether you're going out land-based fishing or you're going boat fishing, because for my business I go out boat fishing, but for my fun I go out land-based fishing, and they're the tackle box is quite different for both of them. But as far as boat fishing goes, for us here in Wellington particularly, having braid on your reels is just so important. To use the old braid, because with the current running, it just makes it so much easier to get down to the bottom when you're fishing with braid, and you can feel bites. You catch so many more fish. That's just been revolutionised fishing down here. And I suppose also the GPS, the Navionics app these days is just incredible for finding fishing spots and getting onto fish. Once you understand to read a chart and see where the drop-offs are and see where the variations at the bottom, that's how you can position the boat and catch fish. So it's good having sharp hooks and strong line and good knots and stuff, but good bait or good lures. But having those, the braided line and the GPS are the 2 things in the boat. And these days we always use recurve hooks too. We never used to, but recurve hook
nice.
seems to have made a big difference too, because you lip hook the fish and, you know, you can release them or keep them if you want. And
Cool.
yeah, it makes it a lot easier. And I suppose when you're fishing off the shore, it's really hard off the shore, eh? I mean, the greatest thing you can have is a truckload of patience to fish off the shore.
I love it. I love it.
Because you've got to put up, you know, with not catching fish a lot of the time. So, and you've got to keep trying new things and stuff, you know. So,
Yes.
but it's all about sort of, I think, reading the conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have good tackle, you know. Again, you know, if your fish aren't biting, change your bait or go to a smaller hook or just alter your cast a bit. But reading the conditions to where to go on the particular day, because if you go to the wrong spot on one day and catch nothing, you know, go back there the next day in different conditions and you'll get into them. So
that's right.
It's trying to find out when the fish are at the particular place or when it's going to be fishable and pleasant as well, you know.
Love it.
So
Love it.
cool.
Wow. Hey, that's masterclass right there. You want to replay that part right there and listen in, because that's the more you get into fishing, the more you understand just how important that info really, really is. Now, you touched on bait, mate, and I was watching some of your videos, and again, check out his YouTube channel, because there's two fish that I really want to catch. One of them is an elephant fish, and the other one is a blue moki. And I was watching your videos, and there's something that you talk about, and it really made me laugh, because I've never had the luxury of being able to do it. And I'm not going to take your thunder, but what is your favourite bait, mate?
Well, you know, I've fished a lot of fishing comps over the years, and when you're fishing alongside people, you've got to have a trick up your sleeve, or something which helps you outfish everyone else, and that helps you catch a lot more fish. And if you really want to catch more fish, then the best bait I've ever come across is the crayfish tail. You know, just a nice little bit of crayfish tail, and you just cot it onto a nice little small hook, and the fish will come along and just sniff it in and engulf it. They won't even know what's going on, no hesitation. But when I first found out about it, I didn't believe it. But you know, I'd go to get outfished 10-1 by people right next door to me, and I thought, what the heck is going on? I look over there, they're cottoning on little pieces of fresh cray onto their hooks. I think that's ridiculous. But I started doing it, you know, and I was quite active in the local fishing club back in my teenage years and early 20s, and learning off a lot of really good fishermen in the club. But yeah, the old crayfish was the ultimate way to catch more fish than everyone else. So I got onto the bandwagon, and once you're in, you're hooked, and you can't go back. So it's the crayfish tail is an amazing bait, and when the fish don't bite, they'll still eat a little sliver of crayfish when they won't eat anything else, you know.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think probably the second best bait would be fresh skipjack tuna fillet, eh?
Wow.
Yeah, skipjack tuna fillet catches everything, I reckon, apart from the stuff that don't eat fish. Like the blue moki, they're a crustacean sort of shellfish feeder, so you don't get them. Well, you don't get many of them on skipjack tuna, but if crayfish doesn't do it, then skippy's going to do it for you, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Oh, mate, you're gonna have a lot of people spying on those videos after this, I tell you. Now, what would be, because, you know, with these podcasts, this is all about getting to know the icons of NZ. What would be your funniest moment in the outdoors, mate?
Yeah, we had a few, but I remember one day we were out fishing at Hunter's Bank, which is a famous kingy fishing spot in Wellington, and I had a guy. It was just before I started guiding, quite a long time ago. A local sort of charter guide. He's still going now. But he was, I won't mention his name, I don't want to embarrass him, but we were on the spot, 80, 90 metres, anchored up, turn of the tide, getting nice big terrakee, and you pretty much always get school harpooker at the same spot as well. Wow. Big terrakee and school harpooker, when you're around the 100 metre mark, that's what you catch. Yep. And I said, what do you reckon? Do you reckon we'll get a harpooker today? And he said, oh, you're guaranteed, Pete, you know, it's turn of the tide coming up, you know, the terrakee on the feed. We'll get him, mate. We'll get him. I said, well, you know, what if we don't? He said, no, we will. I said, well, if we don't, will you eat a blind eel? And he said, yep, okay, I will.
Oh, no.
So we fished right through the tide, and we didn't catch a harpooker. And just before we'd finished, we're pulling up a line. The last line came up, had a blind eel on it. So I said, there you go, mate. We got one for you. So
whoa.
He got his teeth into it, still wriggling. And he had a big bushy moustache, and all the slime was getting through the moustache.
Oh, no way.
And everyone on the boat was just pissing themselves with laughter. Couldn't believe it. No. I said,
Oh,
mate,
wow.
that's probably enough. You can stop. And he kept going. He was keen to get us.
That's the pride of a man right there.
Giving us his word. So, yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah.
So now
I don't think too many people have eaten fresh blind eel before.
you'll have to message me the name, mate. We'll keep him quiet on the public output, but yeah, you have to message me that name. You have to follow up with that.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Now,
it brings tears to my eyes just every time.
look, we're going to get into a part called Quickfire Questions shortly, but before we do, this is something that I've really, since I first messaged you, I've really wanted to ask you about, mate. So for those that are tuning in, this man that we're talking to right now has caught a yellowfin tuna off the rocks. And so I get a lot of people saying, man, I love that you catch kingies off the rocks, but this man has caught a yellowfin tuna off the rocks. Mate, tell us the story.
Well, I was pretty lucky, It's just the right place, right time. But we started going to Cape Brett back in the 80s. And a few of my mates had been out there before, land-based fishing, and hooked a couple of marlin. So we wanted to go up there and catch a marlin off the rocks. It was the dream, And we tried, but we hooked what we thought was one. Get a clear picture of the bill, but it was quite close to the rocks, dorsal and tail out of the water. We hooked it, and it just took off. But the same spot. I think it was the next trip after that. We were just sitting around. It was a bit quiet. And I saw these little fish porpoising out of the water, black shapes, about 100 metres out. So I just had a nice little sort of 60-gram lure on a bait caster. I just chucked it out there, and a couple of winds, boom, I got into a nice fish. And it took me down to the end of the spool a couple of times. It was on 6 kg line, and then we got this tuna up, and we couldn't believe it. We'd never seen one before, But we were land-based fishermen, and I'd never seen tuna before. So we got it in and thought, yeah, that's good. What is it? Is it an albacore? Is it a skippy?
Wow.
So we gave it to the old Fuller's Ferry that came in the next morning at Cape Brett, and we said, can you take this back and just give it to Gary Kemsley at the sport fishing shop next to the wharf? So they did. They took it back to him, and he weighed it and said, oh, it's a yellowfin tuna. I said, oh, heck, man, that's unusual. So it was a bit of luck, and since then I've heard a few stories and seen one or two photos of yellowfin caught sort of at Lawton Point and somewhere else. I think there's been a few stories around, but no one's ever really got it officially weighed and witnessed and all that kind of stuff. But so we don't really know if it's been the only one, but yeah, it was close to 30 years ago, I think. So when it happened, it was a while ago.
How cool is that, man? How cool is that? And you're a very humble man. This is some of the things that I'm finding when I'm doing these interviews is the people that I'm interviewing are so humble. Like you say, it was a bit of luck, but you also knew to throw the right lure out there. Hats off.
It's good to have a full of line. Have a full line and good knots, And that's something I've always, just in case, mate. Just in case.
Very cool, man. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? Yellowfin tuna off the rocks. My goodness.
Well, they get them they've caught them up to 100 kilos or more in Australia off the rocks.
Unreal.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And they get the marlin all the time there too. It's just incredible, isn't it? But it is dangerous over there, isn't it?
Big time.
When you're game fishing the blue water off the rocks, you've got to be so blooming careful, because the waves can come up out of nowhere. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the ocean. That's the ocean. Part of why you love it. Unpredictable, but you've got to respect it. Definitely got to respect it. All right, mate. So we are now, man, thank you for that story. Thank you so much for that story. I read that on a website maybe 12 years ago. And so to hear the story from the man himself is very, very special. So really, thank you so much for that. Now, we're going to get into
the gaff man was pretty good to have a decent gaff man there as well. You got it in one shot. And, if he shut up the gaff and it got away, we would have never known,
Shout him out, mate. Well, who was the gaff man? Who was?
Mark. He was a bit of a legend in the fishing club, Mark Heaton, down here. So he knew what he was doing. He didn't panic, and so and he was teaching me how to fish, back in those days. So I was sort of pretty happy to be under his wing. But he was pretty pissed off that it was me, not him, I suppose. That's the way it goes.
Shout outs to Mark, mate. The gaff man is a very important man I have found over the years. So beautiful, beautiful. Well, we're now at the part of the interview, mate, where we get into quickfire questions, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. He's had no warning on these, so and the key to this is answering as quick as you possibly can.
Okay.
And we're gonna get into it. So here we go. I'm going to start off nice and easy, then we'll work our way into some more interesting questions as we go. So, favorite fish to target?
Blue moki for sure. I think. Yeah, that's what I reckon.
Oh yeah. Kina or KFC?
What's that?
Kina or KFC?
Oh, Kina or KFC? Geez, I've been thinking about KFC. I quite like it. But I had half a dozen Kinners for dinner last night, and I chose that instead of queuing for 2 hours at KFC. I went barbecue for 2 hours instead.
Nice. So, now it's a bit of a curly. It's a curly question to ask while we're in lockdown. But
no, I do like my Kinner.
Lovely.
Yeah, I do
love that.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm not allowed to eat it when I'm around the wife because my stomach starts doing backflips. So if you ever see me eating Kinners out in public, give me some space. Give me some space, mate.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Well, you've got to limit yourself just to 2 or 3, eh? Limit yourself to 2 or 3 rather than the whole sack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, mate, I love it. Greatest fear or phobia?
Oh, I think probably getting eaten by a shark, I suppose. Hey? Yes.
Mate, I tell you,
but
talking to Darren, mate, he tickles the blinking things. So, mate, massive respect.
Well, yeah, it's pretty scary under the water when it doesn't take much to scare me under the water. A conger eel or a ray or something, but I think a shark, I'd just absolutely wet my pants and that'd be it. I'd have a heart attack or something, I think, before it ate me. Yeah.
Oh, you've renewed my confidence, mate. I felt like such a wimp after talking to him. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Now this is something I'm really looking forward to hearing the answer. Boat or land-based?
Land-based, yeah. That's where my heart is. Yeah, it's where my heart is. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Too cool. Favorite superhero and why?
Oh, superheroes. Jeez, I don't know. I don't really sort of have a favorite superhero. I do like the Marvel movies, You know, they're pretty good, but I can't say I've got a favourite. But who was that dude who did that one that we like, had all the music on his tape cassette? Who was that dude?
Yes,
Guardians of the Galaxy. What's that?
Oh, that was just some of the. Yeah, just call it the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, because he was probably the best comedian out of the lot, I suppose.
Yes, that is Skylord or something like that. Oh, Jingo.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yes. No, he's a good laugh. He's definitely a good laugh.
That's right. Yeah.
If you could be an animal, what would that animal be?
Oh, I'd say probably a dolphin, eh? That would be.
Oh, come on. Love it. Love it.
They just enjoy themselves all day, don't they?
That's it, mate. That's it. No worries in the world. Bucket list number 1, mate.
Number 1? Oh, sure. I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to go back in time and see some of the musos who have passed away, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, like I've been ticking a few things off on the bucket list lately.
Nice.
I've been travelling around the place, but I suppose the number 1 really would be to try and catch a marlin off the rocks.
Come on.
And that's sort of, it's always been there, but it's sort of gone away for the last few decades because I've been too busy doing boat charters. But I think if I could just had enough time and I could, that would be it. The marlin off the rocks, they would be the ultimate. Yeah.
How cool is that? How cool is that? Describe yourself in 3 words, mate.
Patient, determined, and fun-loving, I suppose.
Nice. And all of those things are important if you're out there and you want to be a land-based fisher, mate. I tell you. Now, this is one that we had a good laugh at last time. Finish the sentence. You got to finish the sentence. When I dance, I look like. Go.
You cut out just halfway through that.
So you've got to finish the sentence. When I dance, I look like.
Big Bird from the Muppets.
Oh, that is epic, man. That
Yeah,
is
Sesame
epic.
Street, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, love this, man. Hey, so you've done it, mate. You've survived the quickfire questions. But what I want to ask you now, mate, is if there was a message from you, Pete Lamb, to everybody out there, what would that message be, mate?
I mean, don't stay in something that you're not enjoying. Always find a path that you enjoy for your life, you know. And I did that from an early age. I didn't want to get stuck in a job that wasn't fun. So, you know, and if you can sort of have good people to hang out with, that's even better. But
Wow.
yeah, life's too short to do something you don't want to do. So if you don't like what you're doing, change it, right?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. There's some wisdom right there. And now, mate, the plug. Give us the plug. How can people follow you? How can people get that info? How can people learn from the man himself? Plug him up.
Well, pretty much if you just do a search online for PeteLambFishing, you'll get me. And I'm on Facebook. I do quite a bit of stuff on Facebook and on my website. But I'm always available for a chat, sort of on Messenger or on the phone, or come into the shop. You know, I'm always happy to do that. But yeah, if you just search on PeteLambFishing, should get you straight onto me, onto my website, onto my Facebook. I'm not sort of all that active on YouTube these days. I'd like to be more active. But it's just really, I have been under with running too many charters over the last wee while, so I'm starting to back off a little bit and have a bit more fun and talk to people and get to know people again, you know.
Choice.
Yeah.
And I tell you, mate, it's been an absolute honour. The land-based fishers I talk to, mate, all know you, and it's really cool for us to have something to reflect on, I suppose, as our foundation. And you are a legend, mate. You're a legend in the sport, and it's been a real honour to get to know you, to hear some of these stories and catch some of that experience. And look, if you're on YouTube, you do want to check out this man's videos, because there is some crazy knowledge wrapped up in those videos. You talked about your shop, mate. Where's the shop? What's the address to the shop?
It's quite close to the airport in Wellington. It's number 15 Kingsford Smith Street in Wellington. So there's quite a big retail complex behind the airport. It's got Bunnings and the warehouse and all kinds of stuff. But we were there before then. They just came to our party. So
That's right.
We were a little small specialist fishing shop in the middle. And we make bait and burley, processed bait and burley out the back, and we've got the tackle shop at the front. And you can always come in. Well, once we get out of this lockdown, have a cup of coffee and have a browse and have a yarn. You know, that's all. It's always good fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. How cool is that? The man himself, Pete Lamb. I grew up watching him on Gone Fishing, all sorts of TV shows. I'm a land-based fisho at heart. Love hunting, love fishing off the boats, love the outdoors. But land-based fishing, if you had asked me one thing to do, it would be land-based fishing. So it's been an absolute honour to catch up with you, Pete. Thank you for your time.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been good.
Yeah. Oh, so awesome. And mate, one day we've got to get out there together. It would be good luck.
No, that'd be good. I'd love to do that. That'd be good.
Cool. Well, there you go, fam. Check out the description. I'm going to have all the links for you to check out Pete Lamb and to follow his journey. But once again, thank you, sir. Have a great rest of your, enjoy the rest of lockdown as best you can. And we'll see you out there.
Okay, mate. Good on you.
Cheers.
All right.